name is what? My name is my name is
Fiona Fraser.
It's our second My Name Is here on Ring Bells for 2013. It's Lee here, and something interesting about these My Name Is guests. Quite a lot of them come from a rather small country in Europe. Scotland is where I'm talking about. We've got another Scottish wrestler here that we're speaking to. Somebody who is a little bit different as far as a style is concerned, and we'll get into that with her very soon. But I wanted to say hello to Fiona Fraser.
Good evening, Lee.
How are you?
Not too bad. I can't complain. It's all good.
Good. The reason why I said you were very different is because you have a more sort of technical style. I guess that kind of makes you a little bit different to a lot of the other wrestlers in Scotland who are maybe more sort of power or aerial, or if we're talking about Nikki Storm, maybe sneaky tactics, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was something I kind of thought about when I was about 3 months into training, and I thought, right, okay, got my basics, I need to start thinking, what's my motivation to get more into it? And I took up the technical style purely because I'm a little bit of a scaredy cat and I don't like going very high. So we thought the technical style, we'll go with that. It was something I was comfortable with. And that it was totally different to what the other girls had going on, because we had to think, well, what's going to work for me? Because I'm not tall. I'm not outwardly strong. I'm not muscular. So we thought, right, what's going to realistically work for me in a wrestling ring? What's going to make sense?
Interesting that you picked that one, though, because generally when people start learning to wrestle, they want to do things where people go, wow, or bang, we're crazy, and things like that. And the technical wrestling style doesn't kind of lend itself to that kind of reaction.
No, it doesn't. Although I think that's because when people think of it, well, maybe fans think about it, they go, oh, it's boring. But then when they actually see it, some of it can be very flashy, and I do some of that, and it does get really quite a good reaction, especially because it's interesting, you know. I mean, you've heard it yourself, and I'm quite sure every female wrestler that's been on your show will probably say the same thing, that people go, all right, okay, sounds match.
It's been mentioned.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. And then you just come out with something like that, and they go, oh, that's a bit different. Never seen this before. And the sad fact of the matter, that is probably most of the case for wrestling fans. They probably haven't seen a lot of women doing that. And I thought, well, why not? Why not make it me that does go out and do that?
It's interesting you were talking about this, because Bret Hart's one of my favourite wrestlers of all time, and he was, you know, like yourself, not exactly quote unquote flashy, but it's the sort of the technique and the detail and the way that you're able to do those things with such a precision. That's something to really get excited about when you're watching as a fan.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's just when it's pulled off smoothly, and when you notice the footwork and stuff that technical wrestlers are pulling out, you just go, and then it's maybe something subconscious, but you just go, oh, this person can wrestle. And that's maybe not something when you see somebody pulling off high flashy moves, it shocks you and you think it's brilliant, but then you maybe don't get that same feeling you do when you see somebody pulling off a fantastic reversals or a different hold that you've never seen before.
And I guess with those kind of situations, it's the percentage of you being able to nail something like that is a lot higher than maybe something like a high risk move. And like you say, that kind of the science of it all, and the fact that it's that kind of like that mental game of chess. It can really sort of draw you in a lot more, and I suppose it's a more intricate story. But then there's also the possibility of it having a bigger payoff as far as the reception is concerned.
Yeah, I think it's just, I like the idea of the game of chess. I like that. I'm going to have to use that again. But I think it's something, like you say, it just draws your eye in, and I think it's one of those ones where if people are standing in the same kind of centre of the ring, doing all the reversals, doing all the holds, that sort of thing, it is something that just sucks you in and you're stuck looking at it. And for me, if I'm watching as a fan, it's something I can't look away from. It's just mesmerising, shall we say.
It's all even more impressive that we're talking about this, considering you're about sort of 2 years in from starting training, and you're not the kind of person who grew up watching wrestling.
No, I'm really not. And a lot of people get really surprised about this, because people will ask me, oh, who was your favourite wrestler from this era? And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I don't really know. No, I started training in the May of, maybe it was 2011, I think, yeah. And I had only started watching wrestling just before WrestleMania.
That's amazing. So that's what, about 6-7 weeks?
Yeah. It wasn't a long time at all. I remember it was SmackDown I was watching, I think, because obviously on Friday night on Sky, that sort of thing, easy to watch. And I just started watching and went, and I had never watched it as a child. Knew about it because, at school you all heard about everybody being interested in it, but never really came into my sense of being, never had anything to do with it. And then started watching it at like 20 years old and got sucked in, thought it was amazing.
So just thought, why did you decide to watch it then? Were you just kind of channel hopping and thought, I'll stick on this and see what's what?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was exactly what it was, and because I was sort of sitting in the house myself, had nothing to do, stuck on Sky Sports, went, let's give this a shot. And I think I vaguely remember the very first wrestler I saw was Edge, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And it's the drama, it was the storyline, just got me sucked in, and I just kept watching it every week after that.
So who did you latch on to originally then? Who do you think, I really like watching this person?
Well, I think Edge was one of my favourite wrestlers when I started watching. I was distraught when he retired. So it was Edge, particularly women. You've probably seen it as well, like Natalya and Beth Phoenix were just my favourites out of that, because I looked at that and went, God, never seen women doing anything like this before, which is probably quite remarkable again, considering that I was 20 years old and hadn't seen it before. So
it makes it even more surprising then when we talk about the technical aspect, because this is something that it's kind of a dying art to a certain extent. So when you decided to go for the technical side of things, was this kind of an independent decision, or had you been doing more research and watching other wrestlers from the past, or had you had some advice from other people? How is it that you thought, this is the direction I want to go in?
Well, the main reason was because when I started training, of course, Damien O'Connor, who's the head trainer at Source Wrestling School, where I train, he is a very technical wrestler, and I thought, well, why not? If he's got all that knowledge there, it would be a waste not to use it. All the stuff he knows is just, I was just like, right, I need to know all of this. Need to know it now. Need to know it yesterday. And I thought, well, I might as well make use of it to not ask the advice of Damo and not have that training there, have that expert there, especially even now with Mikey Whiplash there. So why would I not have done it? It's just made sense.
There is one good thing, I guess, about maybe having watched wrestling for 6-7 weeks and then decided you wanted to be a wrestler yourself, is that there's no sort of mental bad habits, I suppose, from it. You pretty much go into training as a completely blank canvas. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I think the good thing about it as well is, because I didn't really watch it too much before, I don't really have any bias towards anything. I'm not really against anything. I'm just willing to go in and give everything a shot. It's not so much like I have really strong views against this person, or I don't like this. I'll give anything a go, and if I like it, then I'll keep doing it. If I don't, then nothing ventured, nothing gained from it, I suppose.
And to add to the fact that this is a totally remarkable story, you're not really that kind of an athletic person, are you?
No, I actually did no sport until I started wrestling.
This is ridiculous.
I know, it was a total spur of the moment thing, but no, I did no sport. I hated sport at school. Hated doing anything like that. I was really into music. I played guitar, played in a band, everything like that. Did not want to do any sport, and until I started doing wrestling, I didn't enjoy it. And then when I started doing wrestling, started doing the training, I started to understand, everybody talks about the buzz they get from exercise, and I never really had that before until I started wrestling, and then instantly just like a light bulb went on. I went, this is fantastic, I love it.
It's an amazing evolutionary step to go from not really having any kind of athletic interest at all to being a technical wrestler, which is very, very different and interesting as far as people who are starting out is concerned. But when you did start, probably wrestling in front of crowds, debuted, and what was that like for you? I mean, was that the same kind of buzz as working out and training?
Actually, probably not until the last match there, the one I had with Nikki Storm in Motherwell. That was the very first match I come away with, really enjoyed, and was hyper for days after it. I'm an incredibly nervous person. I worry and stress and go over tiny, minute details before a match, and I think I end up going into a match and I worry so much that I don't give myself time to enjoy it. Whereas when I went into the match with Nikki at Motherwell, I kind of let all that go a bit and went, right, let's just go out, do the match and enjoy it for a change. I came out, I was buzzing for days, and that was the first time I actually really, I love training, absolutely love doing it, love learning all the stuff, but matches, I think, nerves got the better of me up until then, and I think now it's just something's went, and I'm like, oh, right, I can relax a little bit more now. I know a bit more about what I'm doing.
Is it also because you and Nikki have got into a rhythm? I mean, I saw you wrestle the opening match of Insane Championship Wrestling's Fierce Females show back in September, and it seemed like you two gelled quite well there. Is it just because you've now got a familiarity with each other?
I think so. I mean, I wrestled Nikki for my very, very first, my debut match, and that went really well. And I think it's because I trained quite a lot with her, so I think it's maybe, and I think that the match that we did in Motherwell, we kept it very simple. We said there is no point in overcomplicating things, because on that card, I mean, there was so many technical wrestlers. There was Jack Gallagher, there was Mikey Whiplash, there was Johnny Kidd. I didn't know whether I wanted to be in the show or watch it, but we just kind of went, right, okay, there's all these fantastic wrestlers, there's veterans out there, there's no point in going out and trying to do anything massively complicated. We kept it very, very simple. I just went out and had fun, and it was fantastic, really, really good.
As well as Fierce Females, one of the other occasions that most people will have probably seen you is at Pro Wrestling News Wrestle Fever pay-per-view, where you wrestled Erin Angel. As far as that's concerned, is there a different kind of feeling when it's pay-per-view and it's being broadcast live to people?
I don't know. I don't really think that even came into my head when I was doing it. It was quite funny. I remember, I don't think I didn't feel nervous about Eve at all, because I remembered still going through the match in my head, and then my music hit, and I was like, oh, I should probably go out now. But I didn't even think about it when I was going out. I mean, when I was at the Delphi Club, I mean, you know, it's quite dark. I probably could only see the first row round about the ring. It was different in the fact that it was such a large crowd, but I don't think it really came into my head that it was an internet pay-per-view, to be honest.
What did you think about your match?
I actually had a lot of fun with it. It was interesting. That was the first time I was ever the villain, which I quite enjoyed. But I think there was some good feedback about it. People really liked that I worked the arm. That was something they thought they hadn't seen for quite a while. And you know, I came away from every match and think every match is a learning experience. I would love to wrestle Erin again, because I think for someone who's been wrestling for so long, I have so much that I can learn from her.
Do you see yourself maybe as like a little bit of a pioneer in the fact that you have this technical aspect, and it's almost like a dying art that you're able to maybe reintroduce it to older fans, introduce it to new fans as well, and maybe just kind of broaden people's horizons as to what wrestling actually is?
I think pioneer's maybe a bit of a strong word.
Oh, you know, I don't know.
I don't want to be giving me a big head. The trainers at SWA will come after you, Lee. But no, I think that was some of the feedback that I got from Eve, where people were saying like, oh, we're so glad somebody came out and did this. This was so different. That again, people were saying, oh, we like the idea that you picked a body part and worked with it. Because that seems to be something that you don't see an awful lot of.
And that's what wrestling is, in my eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're isolating a joint and working on it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I tend to do pretty much in every match that I do. But I suppose that's the kind of gimmicky thing that I have going on. But yeah, I mean, it's surprising that people that's so different. I mean, even when you watch American wrestling, it's quite different to see somebody working an arm. I think most recently that you see like Alberto Del Rio working a body part, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that people enjoyed it. That was the main thing.
I think, like I mentioned Bret Hart before, when I think of the technical wrestling side of things, I do think pretty much to Bret Hart. And I think if there was a comparison between what he did and to what you do, is that something where you think, yeah, that's the kind of path I'd like to go down, that's the kind of career I'd like to forge?
Well, at the moment, I think because I'm so early on in my career, I just want to get as many matches in as I can with as many different people and just learn everything. Whether or not what I'll do with that, I don't know, but anything goes right now, I suppose.
that brings us to one of your sort of next high-profile matches that's coming up, February 17th. It's about a month away. Insane Championship Wrestling has its first show in Edinburgh, and you're on the card. You're going to be taking part in a 6-woman match, also involving Nikki Storm, April Davids, Kirsty Love, and the Owens twins as well. This sounds like it was probably something that's quite new to you as well.
Yeah, I mean, even the instance of tag matches are probably quite new to me as well. Most of the matches I've been put in have been singles matches. So 6 people in the ring, that's going to be interesting. But I suppose you could say it's quite daunting because all the women who are going to be there have been wrestling quite a long time, a lot more experience than I do. But again, it's seeing everything as in a positive light and viewing it as a learning experience. And of course, Mikey Whiplash, who's the booker for ICW Fierce Females, I wouldn't be put in there if they didn't think I could do it. So it will be interesting, put it that way.
There's a very nice mixing pot, really, of different styles, like we were saying at the very beginning. As far as Scottish wrestlers are concerned, you've got your power wrestlers like Viper, for instance. You've got your sort of happy-go-lucky, kooky wrestlers like Kirsty Love. You've got your sneaky wrestlers like Sarah or Nikki Storm or Carmel. You've got your high flyers like Kaylee Ray. You've got a technical wrestler like yourself. As far as Scotland is concerned as a whole, how do you feel about the scene that you're in?
Oh, I think Scotland is probably the best place to be wrestling if you're female. Wrestling in general, but particularly if you're a female wrestler. And I think that's just entirely down to the fact the fantastic schools we have up here. I mean, the Source Wrestling School for the Scottish Wrestling Alliance, as far as I know, we have the most female trainees in Scotland. Probably, I would maybe say the UK as well. But we have our amazing trainers who thoroughly support women's wrestling. They think it's a fantastic thing, and to have that support probably makes all the difference, because somebody is going out there and saying, yep, we totally believe in you, this is something we absolutely support, and it gives you a good boost as well. But I think Scotland is probably the best place to be now if you're a female in wrestling, without a doubt.
So let's plug you for a second, and let's talk about how people can get in touch with you and connect with you online. How do they do that?
Well, I have my Twitter handle. It's at Fiona Fraser 77 on there quite a lot. And I also have my Facebook page, which is Fiona Fraser 91. You should be able to find it if you search Fiona Fraser in the search bar. We'll
also put links to it on the website as well. But Fiona Fraser, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us here on My Name Is, here on Ring Bells. You are a fascinating individual. I can't imagine somebody watching wrestling and then, before the season is out, deciding to go and train and get into the ring and then become a technical wrestler as well. You are one rare breed.
Well, rare breed's probably one way to put it.